First of all, it's a small cabin. There's only 2 seats and a little soft roof on top and a little mirror, a little windshield, little windows. Everything's pretty little. The first thing up here I see is the latches for the roof. And I'll show you how those work real quick, mostly because it's hot in here and I want to cool off. So you just go like that and like that, and this is really easy to do with 2 hands, and then bam, and it's down. It's probably one of the fastest convertible roof conversions out there. You also have the visors here, which if you're any taller than I am, then they're probably useless because you can't see the road. I mean, I'm 5'7" and they obscure most of my view. If you were, say, like 6 feet tall, you really can't see anything. So a lot of people get rid of them, but I'm sure enough that they work. This one has a mirror, and you have the little light, which is probably the dimmest interior light I've ever seen. Obviously you have your rear view mirror, which is pretty standard. My radar detector, which is perfectly legal here in Michigan. It's a 9-band, pretty cheap. I got it off Amazon for $50 when it was on sale. Then you have the vents. So these vents are kind of interesting because they spin around and 360 degrees, and they kind of point in any direction, but there's no way to actually turn them off. So a lot of cars will have like a little dial here where you can dial in or out how much air you want coming through them. Here, you just get the air. Then we get to the hazard light, obviously, and then my favorite button, which is the headlight up, headlight down. You can see headlight up, headlight down, headlight up, headlight down. I just love that button exists. It's completely pointless because if you look over here on the stock, that's how you actually turn the lights on and off, on and off. This button doesn't turn the lights on, it just pops them up. But I love that they included it. Okay, then we get to the sills, which are pretty low. Gives it a really nice open feel. Obviously you have airbag there. Now let's look at the instrument cluster. So it's a pretty standard instrument cluster. The gas indicator doesn't show which side of the car that the gas filler cap is. So make sure you memorize that. It's right there. It's on the driver's side. I still am not sure every time I go. I've only had this car for about a month. So every time I go to fill it up, I still have to double check. You have your RPM, you get up to 7,000, 140 mile an hour speedo, which is optimistic. Temperature, oil temperature, pretty standard stuff. Then down here on my car, there's this weird aftermarket cruise control, which doesn't do anything. I really just want to take it off. So don't worry about that. Then you have your light dimmer, which goes from dim to non-existent. It's really not very bright. And then over here, you have the only outlet in this whole car. You get one outlet, so that's why I have sort of a power strip type extension thing. And then we get to the AC. So you have a pretty simple AC thing, and I love this because cars these days try to make AC way more complicated than it needs to be, and I hate it. New cars these days have all these capacitive touch buttons and touch screen menus just to change the damn temperature. This is mechanical. You get hot, cold, anything in between. It's all mechanical. If I want to go from blazing hot to full AC, it takes me bam, bam, and we're there. Love that. This is just blowing air if you don't press the AC button. The AC is relatively cold. I might want to give it a recharge before summer really kicks in though. This is pretty interesting. You get sort of a circulate or not circulate, and if you can listen, you can actually hear the valves changing from interior to exterior. And I love how mechanical that is. You never see that today. And then obviously you get to choose your different, whether you want it in your face, whether you want it at your feet, vent, etc. Then we come to this weird aftermarket radio that came with it. It actually works fine, but for some reason it's stuck in display mode. Then we have this little compartment down here, which is convenient for all of my plugs and stuff. I also attached this little $5 phone mount from Meyer, and I did my own mod to it because it kept, since these things rotate freely, my phone kept flipping over whenever I hit a bump and it would fall out. So I just put little Velcro things on the back and now it's pretty stable. The other stock on here, we already looked at the turn signal slash light stock. The other stock is the windshield wiper stock, which is not progressive. You get basically 3 settings, like not aggressive, aggressive, insane mode, and off. So let's look at the Glovebox. Glovebox is small, but it fits the user manual and my sunglasses. It's perfectly sufficient for me. Then we look at the speakers, which are actually pretty good. You got 1 speaker on each side, and it's actually better than the sound is better than my Chevy Malibu somehow. And right above that you have obviously the rolling window things to roll down the windows, and they're pretty flimsy and plasticky. Not a big fan, especially because I have to reach all the way across just to put down the passenger window. And we have the armrest, which wider people often get rid of because they end up... So if you're too wide, then you end up bumping your elbow on it when you're trying to turn the steering wheel. I'm a relatively small guy though, so that's not a problem for me. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, let's look at the center console. So shift, boot, shift, shifter. Here's our shifter. I put in this shifter and shift boot myself. I have a video that describes exactly how you can do that. It's pretty easy, took about 10 minutes. And this looks, to me, this looks way nicer than the stock one. The stock one was this kind of plasticky fake leather material, and it felt kind of cheap. This looks really nice in my mind. And then you have this interesting thing. Maybe somebody else can tell me if this is stock, but there's cup holders, but they're Velcroed down. I can't imagine that that's how it comes from the factory. And then you get this little compartment. So I guess you can either have a little coin compartment or you can have cup holders, which are really poorly placed because if you have a cup there and you're trying to shift gears, you always end up knocking over your drink, or you have to kind of shift gears like this, which is no fun. We have your emergency brake, which is pretty standard stuff. Let's look at... Then you have your little center console thing way back here. There's another weird thing that doesn't make sense to me is this lever to open it, the latch, is all the way in the back. So you have to kind of... So going from a driving position, you have to kind of reach all the way back just to open that. Why didn't they just have it right here? Come on, just put it right here, and then you can just open it. I mean, obviously the latch is broken, so I can do that anyways, but I can't imagine... Whose idea was it to put it way back there? Anyways, in my mind, they should have put this part here and put the cup holders back here. But whatever. Japanese engineering. What are you going to do? It's not as bad as the Germans, who don't even have cup holders. So this fits a fair amount of things. Parking pass, pen, a few coins for parking. Not too bad. Apparently it locks too, but the owner that I bought it from didn't have the key for it, so I don't get to lock it. But you also have your latches for your trunk and for your gas can, which are both completely manual, no electronics, so nothing's gonna break there. You do have a fair amount of space. When I say fair, not very much, but you have a little bit of space between the back seat and the back wall, and it's enough for box of tissues, towel. It's enough for back there. I have behind the driver's seat, I have a hat and water bottle and some other junk. let's look around here. Seat belt is over here. Comes right out of there. It's a good seat belt. I don't know what else you can say about a seat belt. It works, keeps me safe. Then you look farther behind and you see the back deck with the style bar, which I'm told doesn't actually protect you from anything. It's just for fun. But I get a lot of compliments on it, so I'm going to keep it for now. So you have this back deck, and you can put things back there, but they're going to roll around, and this is such a rattly car that I don't recommend it unless it's like some clothes or something. Like if you had a gym bag, you could probably put a small gym bag back there. Also, you have this cover, which is pretty easy to vacuum. All right, let's go down low. So there's your carpet, nice Miata carpets. This is regular cleanliness. I try to keep my car pretty clean, but it's not very clean right now. Let's get out for a second so you can see the pedals. So down here you have your standard 3-pedal setup, which is exactly the number of pedals that you should have. No more, no less. So, and the spacing between the gas and the brake is adequate for heel toe, but it's not perfect. That's probably because I have pretty small feet, but I would like to see them maybe maybe half an inch closer. The clutch is really easy. It's really short travel, easy to push in, very predictable, very progressive clutch. Gas is very predictable. Brake is, you got to put a lot of pressure on the brake. There's not very much assist in the brake, so although I do have good brakes, you have to encourage them a little bit. This is where your seat belt buckles in. Oh yeah, so how do you move the seats? The lever to move the seats is on the inside. It doesn't go all the way across like some cars. It's right here. So you pull that and then you can move the seat back and forth. Or we can look here, pull that, move the seat back and forward. And I'm starting to run out of memory, both in real life and on the camera. So under here, there's a panel missing, obviously. There's your OBD2 thing. I'm trying to find a panel, but the only one I could find was like almost $200, and I'm not about to pay $200 for a piece of plastic. And it's really not that big of a deal. My feet don't really touch any of the wires or anything. Oh yeah, so the other important thing down here is your pop the hood pull thing. I don't know what you're supposed to call it, but pull that, pops the hood, can show off your engine to all your friends. Your little 1.8 4-cylinder engine. So another quirk with this car is the locks. They're really hard. They're so mechanical and they're not greased very well in mine. So it's really hard to sort of lock and unlock the doors. You really got to manhandle it, even though it makes you nervous because it's kind of a flimsy plastic. That's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interior of my car, and I'll see you next time.